Ladies and gents, welcome to video number 2 of our agency vlog series, and today I'm just going to talk about how today was, like what I did on this Tuesday, and the kind of headline of this video, if you would be, leadership alignment, culture canvas, maybe a little bit of dopamine detox. I'll talk maybe a little bit about that. And I got great feedback from somebody in the comments section whose name was like Front End Design. I don't know his real name, sadly, but he said, hey, you should make sure to give people notice of, a title of what the topic is in this video, and not just call it like vlog, 2. So if you have more insightful feedbacks, that you can give me on this video to make it better, please give me. I'm very open to it. So this is the culture canvas I spent the majority of my day in and working on. But before I get into that, this is what my day looked like today. I woke up around 7:30 today, 7:15 a.m. I got to sleep at a good time, got a good sleep, and probably 72 score on the Oura Ring, using the Oura Ring again. That is beautiful. I meditated and read. I did a small little 5-10 minute meditation downstairs in my lobby by the pool. I did ACIM, which is a fantastic thing called A Course in Miracles. It's like a daily kind of prayer lesson, so to speak. It really puts you into a nice contemplative state in the morning, which is a fantastic time to enter a contemplative state, in my opinion. And then you're going to see I worked out from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. That's pretty standard. I showered at 9 a.m. I actually didn't really get into work until 9:45 because I finished the gym, left the gym at 9:15, showered around 9:20, and then got into meditation 9:30 and meditated for like 15-20 minutes. Well, tried to. It was a tough meditation this morning. I was interrupted and allowed WhatsApp to interrupt my meditation, and there's a lot of stuff going on in terms of us moving houses, because we're moving houses for the last time. I won't sidetrack into that. Meditated, and then finally got into work around 9:45, 10 a.m. And that is where I started working on like this DSP basics training, or at least tried to. So this is, again, just a recap of kind of like how this day went. I tried to start working on DSP basics training. You're going to see I blocked off my calendar for this, but I am currently the product manager, basically. That's basically what the role would be called, of this software that we're developing with our software team. We have developers, we have a development team, and there is Pulse, basically stand-up meetings with them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And because they are not in my time zone, it's very advantageous for me to respond immediately. And there was some things that they had questions on that I needed to respond to urgently, because this project sort of trumps anything. Like if I'm working on something and there's something I need to get to them because it's a blocker for them, I need to get it to them as soon as possible. So it does interrupt deep work. And I've thought a lot about this, like, oh my God, this is annoying. But, I had a call with Desi and Alex, who's right now makes up the leadership team of Better AMS, myself, Desi and Alex. And, Alex mentioned something like, look, like, what you're doing is important and it's very much needed, and there's not really anybody else who can do it. So one way to look at it is it's hurting your productivity on other things, but another way to look at it is it's just generally what's needed for the growth of Better AMS. And so, yeah, I've been able to kind of see these distractions or interruptions in a new light, where I'm like, okay, no, this isn't a distraction. This is actually a necessary thing that needs to get done. Ideally, I can block off time to get this done. And I think that was the lesson of today, was like, hey, block off 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the morning to try to respond to all, the devs about questions that they have from the previous night because of the time zone thing. And if things arise in the afternoon, I'm going to have to deal with it, etc. So I got really sidetracked into the software thing for about 2 hours, and that made up the majority of 10 to 11, 12. And then I had a snack around 12, 8, whatever, and then went back into some more software stuff. Then got to work on this DSP training stuff for like 30 to 45 minutes, which I wanted to work on it for like 4 or 5 hours, but had to hop into the software stuff. So, like, I guess somewhat advantageous for people who's listening to this, because this is more or less a vlog that doesn't have much, structure and value to the video, other than just explaining what my days look like given the current state of our agency. Again, if you're not familiar with our agency, where it's at, last month we've been averaging around $100,000 per month. Last month we did about $130,000 revenue. I'll probably share the P&Ls at some point in the future, but our biggest month in revenue, which is really beautiful. Not sure what the profit is exactly. I think it's going to be, actually, no, this month's revenue is going to be 130. Sorry, not last month. This month's revenue will be 130. We're not sure what profit is because expenses haven't come in, obviously. So what does it look like, running an agency, being a COO, whatever, a co-founder of an agency at this stage? This is more or less, I guess, the value that comes from it. So back to the original point, this chaos builds up as you scale and as you hire more people. There seems to be, more unavoidable chaos that enters your role as a whatever CEO, COO, founder, whatever you call yourself. And it's okay to a certain degree. And you really have to ask yourself, is this something that I truly need to do? Can I hire someone for it? Because we can definitely hire a product manager. But does it make sense for us to spend, $5,000-$7,000 per month on a full-time product manager's salary? No, definitely not. Could we hire somebody part-time? Maybe, but it's not really ideal to have somebody part-time, and we'd have to train them, et cetera, et cetera. Not really ideal. So how much time does this role take me? I don't know, 3, 4, 5 hours per week. Is it something that's extremely valued to the company? I believe so. Yes. Okay, I'm fine with dealing with the chaos, and I'll try to block off time as much as possible. And we recently introduced, 3 stand-up meetings per week with the dev team. It used to just be Wednesdays, and now it's 3 times. And that's really helped condense the communication into those call slots. And I may even consider doing it just daily, 15-minute stand-up meeting every day, so I can try to get all the communication needed within that phone call. Typically isn't possible. There's always things that come up. But I believe it's worth it because IP, and it's a really kind of, I don't know, just general term to throw out there, but intellectual property is more or less a really important element that not only is it just important from an evaluation standpoint, but what we're building is actually very much needed, and we need to finish this project so we can move on to the next project. And we finally have started moving on to the next project that the devs are working on, which is a bid management software, and that should be done in 5-6 weeks, which I'm really excited about. So all these things are really important, but if I look at the company as a whole, if we're going to sell BetterAMS, which I have no plans to right now, we have 0 plans to sell BetterAMS right now. But if we were to sell BetterAMS, I think we would get a higher valuation by a decent amount if we had, very well-built, presentable software, which would be considered IP. Sorry, Wisdom really wants the almond milk in my cup here. Is that what you want? Oh, yes. That's what she wants. So, anyways, justifying that took up the majority of my morning from 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then I had lunch and went to the bank to pick up a credit card, which I will not show on camera. It's right in front of me. And then finally I got into the Culture Canvas, where we spent not just from 2:30 to 4, but 2:30 to basically 6. So that was a solid almost 4 hours, that 4-hour meeting. Yeah, almost a 4-hour meeting, 3.5. And this is the Culture Canvas for BetterAMS. I won't, don't, look at this with a grain of salt, but if you just Google Culture Canvas, there's a really good kind of just outline. And, defining culture for a long time, I kind of just, forever, I didn't even know what culture was. But then I did some research. It's okay, it's a vision statement, it's a mission statement, it's core values. Some people don't have a vision or mission. They just have one thing that is a purpose statement, so to speak. And we did that, and we have that, and that's great. And that was a good 1.0 step. But we found that this canvas, which is more or less just a container with questions, has been really insightful and helpful for developing the kind of outline of the culture that we want. And this is a 1.0. It's going to change. It's not set in stone by any means. There's always going to be changes, but we spent 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours, just hammering this out. And we've done this multiple times now. This is probably the 3rd or 4th time we've come into this sheet, or not this specific sheet, but tried to get these boxes filled properly. And we're still not done. We still need to make descriptions for each of these. But I think that the value of spending, 3-4 hours, and probably we'll do the same thing next week on this, and we'll probably do it every week until we feel like this is a good 1.0. Let's roll this out to the team. We have yet to roll it out to the team, and that's because we want to get it, done, obviously. And to get it done, it can't just be one of us. It really needs to be all of us in the leadership, because we are, we all have our unique strengths, and it helps build neurodiversity into the culture canvas. So not just something I can hammer out by myself. We all need to hop on a call. But it was an amazing call, and now I want to get into leadership alignment. I don't know. For me, I was like, ooh, this was a fantastic call about a lot of things that I feel like alignment had been missing on. And naturally, in the process of filling this out, I felt like we gained a lot of alignment in leadership, which was amazing, because it's one of the issues we've had for like a year and a half. Is just like constantly every quarter that we meet up as leadership, we're like, oh my God, we need to gain more alignment. Things are falling through the cracks. This is falling through the cracks. That's falling through the cracks. We said we were going to do this, and it's been 3 months and we haven't done it. Why is that? We need to get better at like taking ownership of things, etc. And so this call hammered a lot of things, and I felt really good about going into this call. Also, we got to talk about a lot of random things that just came up naturally throughout having conversations, and really, I found it tremendously valuable, and it was probably one of the best calls we've had in a long time. Best virtual call we've ever made as a team in terms of having like progress on a project that is extremely important. So felt great about that. And then 6:30 rolled around. I had dinner, sat down with the wifey, ate dinner next to her while she was watching some movie. Watched like 5-10 minutes of this movie while I ate some dinner, and then came back here. Did some invoicing finance stuff with Alex for 20 minutes, 10-15 minutes. And then here I am recording this video. So that was the day, beautiful day, and tremendous value came out of this day. I would rate this day like, scheduling anticipation of what's going to happen, it's 5 out of 10, because I didn't expect the software stuff to take that much time, but that's okay. Productivity output wise, I would say 9 out of 10. Fantastic day. I felt like it was just really good getting the stuff done with this culture. Tremendous progress in that regard, and also lots of progress in the software. So yeah, I was really happy about those two things. So that was leadership alignment. That was culture canvas. Highly recommend you check out the culture canvas design. It's made by this guy named Gustavo. I don't recommend the training workshop. Honestly, we went through the workshop. It's pretty expensive. It wasn't too helpful. It was actually one of the first trainings that we've invested in Better AMS in quite a long time. At least like something that was not just like $100 or $20, but it was decently expensive. So don't recommend it. Just go through the culture canvas, watch some YouTube videos about culture canvas, and I'll make a YouTube video in the future about it that will help explain it all. So with that being said, the final thing I wanted to talk about was dopamine and detox, which kind of ties into discipline and willpower. So I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow. This will be an amazing video. Actually, really excited to talk about this. There was something that occurred, and I believe it was backgammon. If you've never played backgammon, it's a really fun game. It's usually within chessboards. Like a lot of chessboards have backgammon built into it. And really fun game. Anyways, I got introduced to this game about a month ago. And I started playing it. I was like, oh my God. First of all, for me, playing a game like backgammon just lit up tremendous amounts of dopamine in my brain, because like, first of all, I'm innately very competitive and I like to win. And I like to try to be the best at things. And so when I get introduced to a game and I like it, oh my God, I'll obsess over it, and I'll want to get like really good at it. Now, I started gradually playing backgammon more and more. I would, after work, I'm usually hanging out with the wife, but she'd be like, hey, I'm chill, I'm talking to a friend. If you want to go hang out with some guy friends, you can do that. And so there's a couple guys here in the city, entrepreneurs, running 7-figure companies, and they also like backgammon. So I go play backgammon with them, and then I'd start playing it more and more. And then what started happening is it would get to like 8 p.m. and I normally work till 9 p.m. But 8 p.m. would roll around, and I'd be like, ooh, I could make a YouTube video, but you know what? I'd rather play backgammon. And I didn't really think much of it. And then a couple more days goes by, and it's like, it's like 8 p.m. again, and I'd rather choose backgammon. And then next week, it's like 7:30, and then it's getting to like 7 p.m. And then I was like, oh, this is a problem. And not only that, but to add to this, my little brother, he loves video games, and I love video games too. And when I was like 18, 19. So anyways, he obviously doesn't live in Panama. He lives back in Canada, and there's not really many ways for us to connect and have fun together virtually aside from like playing a game. And so it's difficult for me because I can get really wrapped up into games. But anyways, we usually during Christmas or every now and then I'll play some type of game with him. Anyways, we found this game that we could play. It was called Worms, and I hadn't played games with him for like 3 months, so I was starting to feel like fuck, I need to do something with my little brother and have some fun with him, and I actually kind of miss him. So anyways, we found this game. It's called Worms, so you've probably heard of it. It's like this 2D game. We started playing that, and then I really oh my god, work, the enjoyment levels that I started getting from work became tremendously lower than the enjoyment levels I was getting before I started playing backgammon in this Worms game. Now, I wasn't playing Worms and backgammon excessively. I was typically maybe playing it every other day, and I would play backgammon maybe around 7 or 8 p.m. With some friends, and I would talk about business, and I was telling myself, oh, this is productive because I'm talking about business with these other entrepreneurs. And then 9 p.m. would roll around, and then I'd play maybe an hour of Worms with my little brother every 2-3 days. And I thought, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm playing this Worms game with Yale around a time when I would typically be done work. And so I'm coming up with all these justifications as to why it's okay, not really fully being conscious of the fact that enjoyment levels are going down. It finally hit a point. It's the end of week 3, basically. This entire period spanned over a 3-week period. The end of week 3, and I'm like, okay, I know why this is. I've been through this before. I'm slowly getting pulled into games here that are, short-term dopamine spikes that provide that really instant feedback to make you feel good, like, oh, I'm winning at this game, I'm getting good at this game, I'm feeling like I'm self-actualizing through this game. And so there's dopamine going off, and it's reprogramming and rewiring my brain to like backgammon more and this other game more because it's giving me more dopamine. Now, obviously, humans are intelligent enough to where we can reflect on things and intellectually look at it and be like, oh, well, if I start not liking my work, I definitely don't want to be playing backgammon in this video game all day. That's terrible. I'd much rather, finish Agency Enlightened, get better AMS to our goal of 200k MRR by the end of the year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'd way rather get there and then have this big win. The thing is, it's just that's not instantaneous. I can't get better AMS to 200k MRR tomorrow. I can win a game of backgammon tomorrow. This might sound really stupid, but ultimately, the brain optimizes for what gives it the most dopamine, the fastest and the most frequent, and that's how it works. And so that's why slowly but surely I was getting more and more pulled towards these 2 games than I was towards my work. And so all I did, very simple, I deleted Steam, I deleted the game. I told my little brother, hey, I hope you enjoyed the last couple weeks where we spent probably a total of 6 hours hanging out playing this game together, probably about 6-7 hours total over the course of the weeks, which doesn't sound like much. And then backgammon, same thing. I was like, okay, backgammon, I'm going to cut it out completely. I'll only play it on Sundays. Sunday is the only day I'll play that game. And I actually really enjoy it because first of all, that game is nothing like Worms. Worms is insanity. I mean, the amount of dopamine that comes out of that game is crazy relative to backgammon. And the other thing is backgammon isn't a massive portal of distraction. It's a board game. It's not you don't need to get to backgammon. I don't have to go through Steam. Steam is a video game platform, which probably some of you may resonate with, where it has tons of games. And when you open it up, it's advertising all these amazing games, and it can hook you into other games, and it's a massive portal of distractions. You need to eliminate it. Even though you can enter the video game not through Steam, etc., it's still a distraction. So backgammon, I'm only going to play on Sundays or on the weekdays if I've finished work and the wife doesn't want to hang out. But I'm going to really be very conscious of limiting it to maybe once during the weekday or something. Maximum twice, and I'll make sure it's not back-to-back nights because I don't want this brain to start reprogramming for backgammon. So with that being said, trying to just limit it to Sundays primarily. And that'll be tremendously helpful. Now, I've already implemented that. It's been 4 days. Last week, it was around Thursday when I started noticing all this. And so Thursday or Wednesday. So I cut everything out, deleted Steam, everything, and told my friend, like, hey, I can't play backgammon until like Sunday. And so went on this like pure dopamine detox, and it was intense. It was like a mini withdrawal. I was like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? I feel like I really just want to play this game, etc. I just want to play backgammon or play this other game. Like, I'm not really feeling like working 12 hours. Like, I could work like until 7 p.m., 6:30 p.m. and be good, but then it was just starting to get to the point where I was like, I'd rather do that. And so right around that time, it was like withdrawal started, like, oh my God, this is when I would typically play this game. And then like 9 p.m. comes, like, oof, like, am I going to have to open up a book? Like, that does not give me the dopamine levels that I'm used to playing Worms or like, doing something, playing backgammon, etc. So I don't know. I don't think I'm the person who can balance. I can't do it personally. For me, it's just so hard. And I think it's extremely hard for anybody, to be honest with you. I think it's extremely hard for anybody to really balance like the ability to play like 2 hours of video games per day and then work 12 hours or like 10 hours and sustain that without feeling like work is becoming less enjoyable. Video games are just so fucking designed to just absolutely rewire your brain to love them and hate everything else. And it gives you so much stimuli. It's like, it's truly ridiculous how your body and your brain starts to feel like it's self-actualizing through the game if it's a really well-built game. Warcraft, good example. I never played that more than like, 30 hours when I was a kid in my preteens, like 13, 14. Call of Duty, another game where it's like, oh my God, you have a rank, you have a level, you win the match, you get the most kills, least deaths, best accuracy. There's all these statistics, and like, it is designed to hook you in. There's so many more games, and they're all basically, if they're the best games in the world, they're designed to make you feel like you're self-actualizing. Look at that one Clash of Clans game that went like absolutely, berserk in terms of the popularity. It's by a company called Supercell, billion-dollar app development company. Okay, look at what they did. What they did is genius. It's absolutely genius how they built this game. Okay, it's genius. It's innovative. It's all those things. Look at what it's done, though. It's like the most addicting game ever. Why? Because you self-actualize. You build a better castle. And I've played the game back when I was like, 16, 17, maybe I was 18. And I played it enough to realize that, holy shit, this is a very well-built game, because you have to put time in, and then like you have to buy these gems to upgrade your castle faster, etc. You know how it works, but the point is you start to feel like, I am a conqueror in this game. Like, I am winning at this game. It makes me feel great. I go to this chinito downstairs. It's like a Chinese, in Panama they call it chinito, but it's like a little market thing downstairs in the lobby of this other building that I used to live at. And there's this guy, and he's always playing, he's the cashier, he's always playing Clash of Clans, and 24/7. It's just, his phone is kind of on this little like sticky thing that pops out, and it's just Clash of Clans all the time. And he has like this insane castle. Like, I don't know, he could probably sell his account for like 10 grand, honestly. He probably puts in like 8 hours a day, because he works like 8 hours a day, and then when he goes home he probably plays a different game. But he puts in tremendous hours playing this game. And part of me is like, oh, well, if I was a cashier and I could play this game, I'd be more okay with that job, because I'm able to play this game for the majority of my time. But it's interesting, because in that world, he is truly probably like one of the top players, one of the best players. And that gives the brain a feeling of like importance. It gives the brain a feeling of success. It gives the brain a feeling of like worthiness and all these things. To a certain degree, I think it's good for humanity. To another degree, I think it's terrible if you're an entrepreneur trying to build an agency, because it's not going to help you grow your agency, and it's not going to make you feel better if you play that game and you start getting addicted to it. So, anyways, dopamine detox, man. I'm aware that video games are terribly addicting, but even for me, playing a simple game like backgammon, if you observe and you have an observer-like state, and you can enter an observer-like state, it's kind of like the meditative state where you observe yourself from a third-party perspective. I'm not joking. When I'm playing a game of backgammon, and I make a good roll and I make a good move, I feel the dopamine. It's like when you take a sip of coffee in the morning, you feel the caffeine. Or if you haven't drank caffeine in a long time and you sip that thing and you just like brain lights up, you can feel it. If you're conscious of it, just pay attention. You can feel it. Now, when you're conscious of it and you can feel it, be very careful, because if you're programming it to love something that isn't productive to your agency, you have to be very careful about the quantity of which you allow that to occur, because in the end of the day, you're in control. So just be aware of the quantity, figure out the right amount of quantity, and make sure that it's not actually taking away the enjoyment levels from your work. Now I've been working 3 days straight. I feel like, amazing. I feel really good about my work and what I'm doing. I'm back in, I like reading again. Like 9 p.m. rolls around and I'm like, cool, I'll read a book. And I'm not dissatisfied with it because I don't get to play these 2 games. I was going through a little withdrawal. So, and it's crazy because I just want to reiterate this. I know this is a very long-winded video, but it doesn't take much, okay? 10 hours in a game, all it takes. Less than that, 2-3 hours in a game. If you play an hour a day for 3 days straight at a time when you used to have a different habit, so let's say you used to have a habit of reading at 9 p.m. All of a sudden, a little portal of distraction opens up, and now you're playing this game, 9 p.m. And let's just say you purposely do that for 3 days straight, and you're like, you know what, let me just purposely do this for 3 days straight and see how it impacts my other habit that I've had for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year. I'm not joking. If that game is well designed enough, you will likely fall out of that habit, and it'll take you, a week, 2 weeks to get back into that habit, and you will go through a withdrawal. If you really enjoyed the game and you got a lot of dopamine out of it, it has to be something that you genuinely really enjoy. I love video games, man. If I had fucking time for video games and I wouldn't get addicted to them, I would be playing them every day. But it's like, when I look at the long term, I'm like, okay, do I want to look back on my 20s and think, it's really amazing that I got to play, what's that game that everybody was obsessing over? I don't know. Anyways, am I really happy that I got to play this game and become this level in, let's just say, World of Warcraft in my 20s? Like, I'm stoked. I'm so proud of myself, and I'm really happy I got to do that from age 24 to 29. Or am I way happy that I gave my 20s my all, and I absolutely went fucking all in on my agency and my business, and looked back and thought, regardless of where we are today, I gave it my all. This is like what's giving me the most joy, being here. And I'm hoping that I can look back on 20s and be like, wow, our agency is at 1.2, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 million per month, and I don't think we would have got here had the sacrifices not been made. And I'm so fucking happy that the sacrifices were made, because I don't give a shit about World of Warcraft. That's the truth. Like, I could give zero care in the world for my level or rank in some game, opposed to the MRR, the growth, and the culture and better AMS, because I value that tremendously more. Also, when you have a bigger company, you can pay yourself a larger salary, and you can enjoy life fuller in a more grand way. Again, I'm all for living extremely simply, but if you're going to become addicted to something, ideally become addicted to something that is bettering you and making you a better version of self. So I don't think video games is that thing. I do think, however, certain games to a certain degree, with a certain amount of level of frequency, can be very beneficial, especially if they're played with certain people. Like backgammon. Playing backgammon with entrepreneurs who are, run companies that are bigger than yours and have years more experience than you. I think there's a lot of ROI that come from that, because it's a simple game. Like chess is also a great game. We're going to probably start playing chess, because it's it forces you to think long term. And also it's pretty relative to video games, chess is the most boring game in the world. But if you don't play any video game, this is what's the best thing ever. And I know this is a long video, but I'm kind of happy about it. Let me take a sip of milk here. I got your boy Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, and Benjamin Franklin, I believe that is. Or no, who's the guy that, I think it's Benjamin Franklin. He wrote the book, The Intelligent Investor. I forget who wrote this book. I couldn't think his name. Anyways, I got this mug off of some shop. So what I was going to say, if you don't play any video games, I'm not joking, chess is going to be the most if you, let's say you love video games and you love games and you're very competitive and you don't play any video games, but you used to love them like I did. Like playing a game like chess against somebody gives me so much dopamine. It's like, it's insane. I just like make a good move, take out one of their pieces, and I like brain lights up. It's like probably to the same degree of which my brain would light up if I made tremendous progress in the day, you know, grinding it out on a project. Like today, we worked 3.5 hours on the culture map. There was like a slight amount of dopamine after the call, and I was reflecting, and I was like, nice. Like that was a really good productive call. I feel really good about that. The same amount of dopamine though comes from like winning a game of backgammon, and that's what's crazy. Like to me, it's like, yeah, you gotta be very careful about the different types of dopamine you let into your life, because the dopamine you get from business isn't a whole lot, to be honest. Like it's pretty dry for the most part, and it's extremely dry and boring if you play video games, like I said, because of that contrast. So you have to really love what you do. That's obviously important. And definitely love the people that you work with and be aligned with what you're doing. And ideally you can play to your strengths, because that's funner than improving your weaknesses. But yeah, the contrast is absolutely crazy. So you got to be really careful about it. That was a long video. I feel really good about it though. Please, please, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm very happy to hear them. This is the second video of the agency vlog. As I said, I'm happy and very open to feedback. Be very careful about the dopamine you allow into your life. This is why I avoid drugs and alcohol at all costs. Like, oh my God. By the way, I have I've said previously that I don't drink. I genuinely don't ever drink. But if I'm celebrating something massive with our team, like when we celebrated reaching 100K MRR at the retreat in Mexico, and we rented like a mansion on the beach, there was a night where we went out and I had some drinks. And it was the first time I had drinks in like, I don't know, a year. But every now and then with the team, it's kind of the only time I'll ever have drinks. And so, yeah, but when I'm home, like maybe one day a year, maybe 2 days a year, maybe 3 days a year, spread out across like 3-4 months, it'll happen, but never after that. And same thing, because it just lights up the brain in a way that's not ideal. And then drugs is even tremendously worse, and I don't, just never go near it. Yeah, don't touch it. All right, that's it, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts, and I really enjoyed being here with you. Much love. Ciao. Also, hit the subscribe button, please. Support the channel.